I'm just happy you guys are leaving happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to see because, you know, the Darcey&Georgi in Miami was not so happy. I got the impression that Georgi wants to come back to Bulgaria by himself. He never really consults with Darcey. He never really treats her like a wife.
You need to thinking about everything that's going on. I need to spend time without drama because too much drama.
The fact that Julia would blow up like that and just, I'm out of here, I'm going to New York by myself. Maybe she needs to go to New York by herself.
Stacey's right, honestly. It sounds like a lot of I statements and not a lot of we. So I'm going to be stuck paying the rent again in Miami in full. That's it. But you're going to use all your money to buy this apartment. That's why, like, you could take all my money, Georgi. I'll send you a check tomorrow.
I don't have
Pick
no
it
money.
off. Get over yourself.
You don't have zero money.
Really? I don't?
Stacey don't have no money too.
Talking about. You're disgusting.
You're always broke.
Y'all, in this latest episode, it's safe to say that Julia and Darcey are equally triggered. They are in positions that they have been before. Julia having to fight Betty and Brandon and Ron at the same time, and Darcey feeling like Georgi is leaving her in the dark. But now, did they go too far in the way that they reacted to these situations? That is debatable. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After, specifically Julia, Brandon, Darcey&Georgi. And then in the next one, I will have Jasmine&Gino and the Florida contingent, aka Jovi, Yara, Lauren, and Alexi. But in this one, again, it's just Julia, Brandon, Darcey&Georgi, okay? Before we get into it, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We are going to start with Julia and Brandon just because it's a really short segment. So we pick up at the scene of Julia's crash out. But I personally think that this crash out is valid because no one, and I mean no one, wants to be ganged up on. And this is a situation that is constantly happening to her. And now her parents are in the mix. She's pissed and I get it. So as you guys recall, her and Brandon came in supposedly as a united front, telling her family that they're going to take this trip. The minute his parents start listing the many reasons why they shouldn't, which some were valid and some I just feel like it's just not their job to tell these adults what to do with their marriage. Point is, Brandon completely switched up on Julia. Julia felt alone and she's like, you got to figure out what you want and I don't want to deal with this. So she walks off and she calls for her parents. And remember, the plan was to go to New York and then they'll fly to Russia from there. She's like, I want nothing to do with you. She packs up the car and she's like, we're just gonna take a train to New York and I just need some time of peace with my parents.
Station in 10 minutes from here, I decided we are going to airport by ourselves to New York. You need to thinking about everything that's going on. I need to spend time without drama because too much drama. Thinking about what you want to do.
And here's the thing. Brandon and his family have sabotaged this entire trip with her family. She wanted a peaceful trip. Her parents are already stressed out about the state of their marriage and they wanted to see it for themselves. And literally, every time we have seen them, Brandon has picked a fight with Julia. So hell yeah, you want a few days with your parents without any drama? She deserves that. But of course, in doing so, she's the bad guy. She's overreacting. Literally, Julia's packing up the car with her parents, and Brandon and his mother are like talking shit about Julia, being like, she's just overreacting. Like, why is she acting like that?
The fact that Julia would blow up like that and just, I'm out of here, I'm going to New York by myself. Maybe she needs to go to New York by herself.
And so Julia basically leaves Brandon to be breastfed by his mother at the farm.
We love you. This will always be home.
And I just want to be clear, again, it's not that I think Julia's plan is brilliant, because I don't, but I feel a way about your partner or anyone that you're close with turning on you in public. There are many reasons for that, many layered reasons, but in this particular thing with Brandon and Julia, she wants partnership from you, right? And you keep whining every other minute about wanting to be a father. Part of being a parent is having partnership. Part of being a parent is being a grown-ass adult and you're acting like you have mamitis. So like, the more that he speaks, the more I'm like, her vag must be drier than the Sahara Desert, because there is no way that I would want to lay up with a guy like that. And I'm sorry if that's like crass or whatever, but I just feel like everything about him is more repulsive by the episode. But my point, what I was getting to, was that it's not that I need him to fully agree with her plan. He could actually just say nothing in front of his parents and be like, we're still figuring out the terms, and once we have a definite decision, we'll let you know. But it's not for debate. It's not like something that they all need to process together. Everyone is not in this marriage. And that is what Brandon doesn't understand. So again, it's not about agreeing and going with her every whim. It's about having those conversations in private. But don't agree in private and then in front of everyone be like, yeah, I don't really know about that. Like, that is crazy. And I know that people were getting at Julia for thinking that, like, bringing her parents was extreme. But think about it, right? She feels so alone, even in her marriage, which again, why would you procreate in that? I don't understand. But she feels so alone with her husband, her literal family in America. Parents-in-law, I mean, look at it, right? So of course she's desperate to want her parents here because she feels so alone. And so now having her parents also disagree, like, she's just like, I can't get anything right. Like, what am I even doing? So I feel for her in this moment. But that was it for them in this episode. Let's move on to Darcey and Georgi, okay? They are in Bulgaria still. It is their final day. We see them, Stacey and Florian, pull up to this place. It looks like this guy is walking on like fiery coal. I don't know what it is, but the point is it is hot. And they ask what it is. Georgi explains that this is a Bulgarian tradition. It's a way for couples or people just to like get rid of bad energy. And without missing a beat, Stacey's like, oh yeah, I mean, you guys really need that. She's so shady for no reason. Like, we just saw you on The Last Resort. We saw the way that your husband talked to you. Do you really want to like pick at your sister right now? When again, you're supposed to be there to support. She came with a bad attitude. And just in general, like, this is a reminder that I really like the twins separate. When they are together and one is the focal point over the other, they're so nasty. But here they are, right? Florian and Stacey don't want to do this fiery thing because it's not their trip. Georgi ends up carrying Darcey and like starts like stumbling over the coal. Stacey is yelling like, oh, say positive things that you want to call into your marriage. Georgi is not partaking. Darcey though is like, yeah, so we're leaving the past behind. You're not going to keep any secrets from me, right? Right? This leads us to the big hotel scene. They are packing up, of course, last minute. There are 8 luggages, right? Stacey and Florian come into the room and, Darcey's like, oh, please help me close up some of these. Again, Stacey comes in with a stank attitude, stands in the corner, and is like, oh, I'm so glad that you guys had a good trip because, Georgi and Darcey in Miami, that's a different story. Your sister, like you, is in a very dysfunctional marriage. And I hate people that when you look like you're thriving, constantly have to remind you of your struggle days. That is jealousy. That's what that is. I really don't understand the reason to do that. This is exactly what Georgi was afraid of with Stacey coming by, because her and Darcey infiltrate each other's minds in a way that needs to be studied. Are there studies on twins doing things like this to each other? Because it's almost like Darcey cannot think for herself. The minute Stacey even planned to seed a doubt. Darcey does not need to be nudged any harder to start spilling out insecurities, okay? So Florian tries to switch up the subject oh, so you had a good time? Do you plan on coming back again? And Georgi's like, yeah, I really want to come back soon. I need to get some things in order. But yeah, I definitely want to come back sooner than later. I just got to save up some money. And so Darcey starts, taking out jabs oh yeah, he got all his paperwork. So he definitely wants to come back. And she keeps insinuating that Georgi wants her for papers. But Georgi was already in America for a decade or something, right? Before they got together. He was already settled. So I just don't like the implications that she makes. He definitely was benefiting off her money. For sure. But the way that she keeps implying that I don't know. There's something about it. and we'll get to that. But Georgi is being a little vague, and maybe he doesn't want to talk about things before they're in fruition. Like, you know, sometimes you get bad luck, people jinx it. You don't really want to talk out too much of your plans, but I'm sure after being back in Bulgaria after 13 years, he's like, damn, like I really want to set roots. He even mentioned it in front of Darcey that he would like for them to have property here. So it's not a secret, right? However, in front of Stacey, she's acting like she's never heard this before. So Stacey's like, oh, you're looking to have like a family home and thing like that. And he's like, yeah, you know, I'm looking to invest and like, or, you know, to have a house here. And he's like, but I don't always want to come with Darcey. Like I want to come here and like spend time with my family. And y'all, when he said that.
You know what I hear? I hear more like I, not we. That just goes to show that you're hiding something.
And if they were good detectives, they would remain calm, right? Because Georgi is someone that you can't get riled up too quick because he shuts down. Georgi and Darcey have been together for a very long time. If she wants information out of him, she knows better. And the fact that she acts like she has no emotional regulation, it is why she's never going to get the answers that she wants. If she were smart, she would have remained as cool as a cucumber, would have told Stacey, zip it, and would have just calmly asked all of the questions. And then once she has the information that she needs and she decides to get mad, be mad, go crazy. But to be mad and go crazy before he even answers things, what are you mad about? You're mad about things that you're making up with your imagination because he hasn't said anything that feels guilty to me. They take solo trips all of the time. Georgi is not having an identity crisis. He's not questioning his marriage because they're going to Turkey on their own every other 6 months. You know what I mean? So him saying that he wants to go back to Bulgaria to see his family that is there, that you've met, is not guilty to me. But of course, Stacey starts being like, you know, you're not really considering my sister. I'm not hearing you say we. And Darcey's like, yeah, it sounds like, you know, you got everything you want from me and now you're done with me. You're going to come to Bulgaria and set roots and be done.
Stacey's right, honestly. It sounds like a lot of I statements and not a lot of we.
And she starts spiraling like, oh, so you're just going to come to Bulgaria and what? I'm going to be alone in Miami and have to be stuck with rent again?
So I'm going to be stuck paying the rent again in Miami in full? But you're going to use all your money to buy this apartment? That's probably with I don't even know how much money you have saved. How much money you putting towards this?
You were stuck with rent during COVID when he was not working because he literally could not be a masseuse during COVID. He now has a job of his own. If he's a responsible man, no, you will not be stuck with rent on your own. But y'all, he's trying to answer. He's like, Darcey, I'm not saying I'm going to go to Bulgaria tomorrow. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I would like to come back. Like, that's something that I like to plan. He never said, I'm leaving you for a month. Like, he didn't say that. They're just going crazy.
Darcey, I'm not saying this is going to be
Where's
tomorrow.
Where's the money coming from?
And there's a point, you guys, that Stacey and Darcey are just going at him. And I was just like, this is hell. How could anyone ever communicate in a situation like this? Also, he's not married to Stacey, Darcey. And the fact that you let her take over this conversation in this way.
That's why I have really hard time opening up because she overreacts to little things. It's like stressing for no reason and ruin the whole experience.
I can totally see how people could be like, Georgi is being shady. I think he's being super shady in the way that it takes him forever to get information out. I hate that he's the type of person that you have to ask 20 questions to get a full thought, you know? And just like I think that Darcey knows who she married, someone that isn't as expressive as her, he also knows that he married a woman that is super anxious. And so he should offer up information up front so that she doesn't jump to conclusions in the way that she does. Again, not saying she should be jumping to conclusions, not saying that he should be walking on eggshells, but like they have to meet somewhere in the middle. And because they're both not doing the work that they're doing, they keep having the same fight sequence that they've had since the beginning. They've broken up so many times. I don't understand how they got married with the same issues. And I was cracking up when Darcey was like, I'm tired of walking on eggshells. Darcey, you are not. If this is you walking on eggshells and it's turbulent AF, I just cannot imagine who you think you'd be if you fully unleashed. So she ends up just walking out of the hotel room, basically leaving him still packing up. She's talking crap about him at the elevator, like, oh, it's the same thing, different day.
Like hurt inside because he's never gonna change. That's why he's not even coming out to talk about it.
And so the trip is ending at a horrible note, but it continues. And I think it gets juicy in this part. So now they're downstairs, right? Waiting for a cab. And Darcey, who was an extremist, there's no nuance to anything in her brain. She's like, you know what? If that's what you want, if you just want money, when I get home, I'll send you all of my money and you'll be happy with that. And he's like, what money? You don't have money. None of y'all have money. Y'all broke.
You could take all my money, Georgie. I'll send you a check tomorrow.
I don't have
Pick
no
it
money.
Off. You talking about, dude? Get over yourself.
I don't have zero money. Stacey don't have no money too.
Wow. What are you talking about? You're disgusting.
You're always broke. Shopping, spending your money for clothes.
If we had zero, we'd be living. Sure, how much do you make at the spa?
Talk about how much you make too.
The twins are so offended. They're like, broke? We have our homes. We have this, we have that. He's like, y'all spend all of your money on clothes and surgery. Y'all have no money. And here's the thing. I think that there's a little truth to that. The way that they reacted, so defensive, there's truth to that. Second, for the entirety of the time that we've known the twins, Papi has been funding their lifestyle. They lived in a house that he owned. Their little 1111 business, he started the funding, which is why he was so upset when it didn't do well the first time. And now they're in these condos. I'm sure they're probably paying for the condos now, but for the longest, they weren't. Their dad was taking care of things. So, and they do spend a lot on surgeries and they do spend a lot on luxury brands. So that's probably part of the reason why Georgie's like keeping his money information on the low. Do I think that's right? No, because Darcey was happily funding your lifestyle when you didn't have money, when you were broke. But I think there's a way to still have transparency with your wife and also be like, you don't get to touch X amount of money. But I think that she should be in the know. But yeah, there's definitely something to that because they got real defensive when he said that, to the point that Darcey's like, you know what, we're gonna get on different cabs. And he's like, my sister's coming to meet us to say goodbye. Like, really? And she's like, I want to be done with you. I don't feel safe with you. I don't want to be next to you. You're not trustworthy. You're not my family. Just insane. And so they get in the cab and they head off. Georgie is left by himself. When his sister pulls up, she's thinking she's going to say bye to everyone. And Georgie is so embarrassed that he has to tell his sister that they got into this big fight. And what I don't think Darcey is clocking, because she's so self-centered, she's not clocking what this looks like to his family. You left your husband alone. You had a big old fight because you don't want him to come back to see his family. Because that is what they're going to hear. They finally got their son after 13 years, and now his wife threatens to leave him because he says that he would like to set roots here to be closer to his family, nieces and nephews. That's not a good look. And if she took a second to really ask him questions, she would have gotten more information. I don't think Georgie's trying to come back and get a new wife in Bulgaria. I think that he's someone that doesn't like to talk about things until they're tangible. This is just an idea. And again, the way that he repeated, Darcey, I'm not saying I'm coming back tomorrow. There's nothing planned. It's just an idea. And I get that she would like to be a part of the conversation, but he's a very internal person and she knew that. And if she really wanted to get through him, she knows that the recipe is to have a one-on-one and to be calm. But to gang up on him with your sister? Insane. And also, again, another reason why I think that the money thing, there's some truth to that, because Stacey then was getting at Florian, why didn't you defend us?
Really? Wow. That's so funny. You don't let him talk to your wife
so
like
funny.
that. And then don't sit there and just because you know the truth too.
Think in my head.
And Florian's like, Florian doesn't like to lie, so there's that. But yeah, you guys, that was it for their segment this episode. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the Silva twins have some money troubles? What do you think about Georgi? Do you think that he's being shady? Let me know everything in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.